My whole plan to become a streamer was to become a professional or amateur Call of Duty player and then go into streaming from that. But luckily, people started calling me fat, so we're good. We bypassed all that. I don't want to go sleep, man. I want to go to work, man. Like, if I could turn this into something and just be able to do this with y'all every day, that'd be a dream come true. Like I said, I've been dreaming of wanting to, be a streamer, a content creator since I was 13 years old. I finally took the leap, bro.
CaseOh's greatest trait is his humility. He also seems like just a regular person you'd want to be friends with.
I didn't eat them. I've been over here all day and I haven't ate them. Chat, look how skinny I am. What you laughing at?
I'm sorry.
Huh?
No, you're skinny, bro.
Yeah.
You're easily 120.
Yeah.
Maybe 119, bro.
You think so? Y'all been cutting recently.
Yeah, man.
CaseOh, don't eat me. Okay, yo, listen here.
What makes CaseOh so different is that he isn't really a content creator. He is just a normal human being who enjoys streaming and playing games. He is like that childhood version of us who actually wanted this life of no work and playing all day with a lot of friends to watch them. He is the one who made it. He has a very good relationship with his parents, not ashamed to bring them on streams, doesn't swear, and doesn't like to spread negativity. He does it for the love of the game.
What? It wouldn't be possible without y'all, chat. And you know who else it wouldn't be possible without? My mom. Come stand in front of the camera. Look at that.
The best thing about CaseOh is how humble he is despite his massive success. He never takes it for granted. For whatever reason, the internet loves the spectacle. The bigger it is, the louder it is, the more expensive it looks, the better it performs. Look at the top of Twitch right now. It's flooded with million-dollar mansions, celebrity subathons, streamers buying their 10th dream car. Everything seems to be built around one question. How much money can we burn on camera? And then there's this guy. As someone who was around when YouTube and creators like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and PewDiePie first started YouTube, CaseOh brought back that feeling of watching pure entertainment. He's not for the money, but for his fans, just like the big three. We made the right person famous. CaseOh is interesting because on paper, he's doing almost everything wrong. His production quality is kind of garbage. His setup isn't designed to be some massive content machine. Half the time he's live, he's playing some random game most people have never even heard of. And when your entire job is getting people to watch you, you don't turn down a MrBeast video. But CaseOh did. MrBeast himself said it. CaseOh did not respond to his message.
I can't even go on a MrBeast video due to fear of airplanes. Ain't that bad, chat?
And somehow, despite doing the opposite of what the internet tells creators they're supposed to do, he's still one of the biggest streamers on the planet. How does that happen? He's got everything that makes a good content creator. He's genuine, he's funny, he doesn't just latch onto what's trending, his humor and dialogue can apply to all ages, he has a good character. There's no complications about his content, he just does what he does. It has variety, but consistency. He's just fucking awesome in every regard, he feels so real and brings out classic internet content. The honest answer is that none of this should have worked, because CaseOh has had the odds stacked against him since day one. Case Baker grew up in rural Arkansas. His hometown has a population just over 1,500. It's the kind of place where a new Walmart makes the front page, and where the churches outnumber the stoplights. Towns like that don't have a lot going on. So as a quiet kid, Case did what quiet kids in quiet towns have always done. He disappeared into a screen. In this case, a PlayStation. Call of Duty on repeat. And when YouTube started blowing up in the early 2000s, he was right there, watching Nadeshot and the Optic guys build something that didn't exist a decade earlier. He watched gaming turn from a thing you did after school into an actual career. The biggest names were clearing their parents' annual salaries in a single weekend. And after watching that, it became Case's dream job. CaseOh is what PewDiePie, Markiplier, and Jacksepticeye were in the early YouTube days. He is funny, genuine, and there are no scandals or drama around him. And I miss that in modern YouTube. Quick word from our today's sponsor, Pop5. Pop5 is a next-generation social networking platform designed to connect people through entertainment, community, and real-time interactions. The app features live shows, community forums, trending discussions, events, gossip updates, and interactive spaces where users can engage freely and discover content that matches their interests. Pop5 is built to go beyond scrolling. It's about participation, connection, and being part of a digital community where everyone has a voice. To get the same experience, click the link in the description to get started for free. You can also unlock even more features with premium. The problem was, he knew the odds, especially in his situation. His Wi-Fi was barely good enough to even watch YouTube. Uploading to it or streaming on Twitch, forget it. So he buried it. He graduated high school, bounced between jobs, often working 2 at a time just to keep the lights on, for 6 years. 6 years of clocking in somewhere he didn't want to be. 6 years of watching other guys his age blow up online doing the exact same thing he'd given up on. By the end of it, Case was broke, burnt out. He was 1 bad week away from walking into a recruiter's office and signing up for the military. Then his mom stepped in and asked him the question that changed everything. Why not take a real shot at the whole streaming thing? What's the worst that happens?
The reason that I gave it another shot again in general was because of my mom. Because I was miserable at work. You know, she'd hear me complaining like, oh, I hate my job, I want to go do something else. She said, why don't you give streaming another try? Just upload some clips, you're funny, see what happens.
And that right there is one of the most powerful things a person can have in their corner. One parent who believes in them at the exact moment they've stopped believing in themselves. That kind of support can take someone exponentially further than any Wi-Fi connection or production budget ever could. As a CaseOh fan who doesn't usually watch streamers, the appeal for me is that in addition to him being effortlessly hilarious, he feels authentic and relatable. No gimmicks, no glossy editing, or over-the-top clickbait. I think that resonates with people in an era of so many slick, phony content creators and influencers. Now, to understand what happened next, you need to understand how brutal streaming actually is. In the past year, 18.4 million people opened up Twitch and broadcasted live on the platform. Out of those 18.4 million people, only 165,536 of them ever averaged 100 concurrent viewers, which is the rough point where you can realistically consider going full time. That's less than 1%. For every person who gets to that level, there's 100 that don't. Every big streamer you see today spent days, weeks, if not months, streaming to an audience of 0. Jynxzi, who is right now one of the most watched streamers on the platform, streamed to just 5 viewers for a year and a half before he ever made it. 5 viewers. A year and a half. That context matters when you're about to hear what Case did next. In the days before he went live for the first time, Case wasn't sitting around hoping people would show up. He spent days filming and editing clips of himself playing NBA 2K23. And on September 10th, 2022, he uploaded 22 videos to TikTok in a single day. The next morning, he woke up to over 10,000 followers and a comment section flooded with one question: when are you going live? So that night, he went live for the first time, looked down and saw 126 viewers, and said he couldn't believe it. He hit level 1 in the first hour of his first ever stream. And he didn't just get lucky, he built the runway himself. From that day on, he followed the same routine. Clock in at the 9 to 5, hit the second job, cut a few lawns, then come home and stream until he couldn't keep his eyes open. He'd sit there on stream saying he didn't want to go to sleep, didn't want to go to work, all he wanted to do was play 2K forever.
I don't want to go sleep, man. I don't want to go to work, man. I want another build, dog. All I want to do is make builds and play 2K forever. Why'd I gotta go work?
And after each stream, he'd find the best moments, clip them, and fire them back onto TikTok. The loop fed itself. Inside a week, he'd blown past 100,000 TikTok followers. Every stream was pulling 500 plus concurrent viewers. And the number that actually mattered, he was making more money streaming at night than he was at his day job. But Case kept his head on straight, because what shows up overnight can also disappear overnight. So before he quit his day job, he needed proof this wasn't a fluke. He made a deal with his chat, hit 5,000 Twitch subs, and he'd quit. Within just a few weeks, it was a done deal.
This a day we're gonna remember forever, you feel me? This a day we gonna remember forever. You know I love y'all, man. Thank you, bro. It's all y'all, you feel me? Thank you, man. Full-time CaseOh in the building, and I'm laying in their mouth, too.
His chat came through. Full-time CaseOh was in the building.
Like I said, I've been dreaming of wanting to, be a streamer, a content creator since I was 13 years old. I finally took the leap, bro. I finally took the leap, and y'all came through for you, boys. For real, y'all came through crazy.
Now, it wasn't all sunshine from there. His internet was still genuinely bad. Streams would lag or just end completely because the connection bottomed out. And when you're trying to build an audience, that is the kiss of death. If your stream ends, they move on to the next. The numbers started slipping. For a couple of months, it looked like maybe the whole thing was a fluke. He'd gone from 9,800 viewers a night down to 100 or 150. He knew he had to do something different or it was going to go under.
I was getting like 1,000 viewers a night. I was like, oh man, it's cool. Then it started dipping. All of a sudden, I'm getting 500 viewers out. I'm like, uh-oh. All of a sudden, I'm getting maybe 200 viewers out. I'm like, whoa! I'm like, oh man, I'm quitting. Had like 800 viewers every night. Then y'all seen it dip to like, 100, 150. I was like, I gotta do something different or it's gonna go under.
Then he picked up Hogwarts Legacy. It was a weird choice. Totally different audience from the 2K crowd he'd built. But he streamed it anyway. Clipped a moment of him talking about the sun peeking through his window, with his sleep schedule completely gone, still going at it to make Hufflepuff proud.
Well, I see the sun peeking through the window a little bit. Sleep schedule gone now. Gotta make Hufflepuff proud though. Hey, it is what it is, man.
That one video pulled over 18 million views. Just like that, he was back. Viewership climbed to 600, then kept climbing, month after month. Another clip going viral, another wave of new viewers funneling straight to the stream. And this is the part that I find genuinely remarkable. Even as the numbers grew, past 10,000 concurrent viewers, past milestones that most streamers will never see in their entire careers, nothing about Case changed. He still played random games, still had mediocre production, still paused his stream when non-subscribers couldn't read along in chat, just so nobody felt left out. He once turned down a MrBeast collaboration, not because he was too big for it, but because he has a fear of flying and wasn't given enough notice to drive. He didn't make it a moment, he just didn't go. That's it. What Case built is something that almost never happens on Twitch. He made his audience feel like they were his friends. Not his viewers, not his community, not his supporters, his friends. You watch a CaseOh stream and you feel like you're just hanging out with someone you've known for years. There's no politics, no negativity, no real mean-spiritedness, no ego, no clip farming, no performative energy. But it's not sanitized, family-friendly content either. It's just him, completely and entirely him. And in a world full of streamers who have optimized themselves into something that barely resembles a person, that is extraordinarily rare. The best way I can put it is this: streaming usually rewards the wrong people. The ones who figured out the algorithm, who built the thumbnail strategy, who hired the team. And that's fine. That's a job, and they're good at it. But every once in a while, the internet gets it right. CaseOh is one of those times. A quiet kid from a 1,500 person town in Arkansas with bad Wi-Fi and no connections became one of the biggest streamers on the planet. Not because he played the game, but because he never did. He just showed up every single night as exactly who he was. And the internet, for once, recognized something real when it saw it. That's the easy part of this story though. Being genuine when things are going well is one thing. The real question, the one that actually separates this group from everyone else, is what happens when everything falls apart. And that's where we go next. Sketch goes live. The first thing he says is, "Elephant in the room, I got a haircut."
Elephant in the room, I got a haircut. Wasn't planning on doing this today, but I guess so. Okay, I'll start from the top. Look at this, open and honest. That was me. That was me. It's okay, though. I will tell you what. Okay, 2 years ago, I did some stuff. I'm sorry if you've seen some of the stuff. You know, I'm a changed person.
And just like that, you already know this person is different. Because think about what was happening in that moment. A private video had just leaked, something deeply personal, something Sketch had been carrying around for 2 full years, going to sleep every night knowing it was out there, waking up every morning knowing it could drop at any time. And when it finally did, when the worst case scenario actually happened, he didn't call a PR team. He didn't post a carefully worded statement. He didn't disappear for 2 weeks and come back with a redemption arc planned out. He went live, and he opened with a haircut joke. That one moment tells you more about who Sketch is than any highlight clip ever could. But then he got real. He sat there and he talked about it the way a person talks about something when they're not reading from a script. Messy, imperfect, pausing in the wrong places. He admitted he'd been dealing with addiction problems during that period.
Okay, I was dealing with some addiction problems. A couple of them. But, no excuse there. I guess. Just trying to give you some background here. Yeah, that was me. I fucked up. I won't do it again.
He said it plainly. That was a dark time, a rough time.
I'm just kidding. Well, I am dead serious about not doing it again. That was a dark time. Rough time. You know, I'm owning up to it.
He owned it without dressing it up. He said he'd been living under the threat of that video coming out for 2 years, that he'd been going around doing everything, building his career, streaming, laughing with his chat, all while in the back of his mind knowing that at some point it was going to come out. And then it did. And he said, guess what, holy something, that was last night.
But on a real note, I've been living under the threat of that coming out for like 2 years. Started social media, just kind of dicking around, had that in my past. I'll tell you what, weight lifted off my shoulders. God is good. God is good. But weight off my shoulders, to be honest. You have some stuff in the closet. Yeah, it came out. I mean, I tell you what, I was going and doing all this different stuff. I was going in the back of my mind, holy shit. And guess what? Holy shit was last night.
He also said something that most people glossed over because it was buried between jokes and deflection. His original plan, if that video ever came out, was to call it quits. Not take a break, not step back, call it quits entirely. He said it plainly. Plan A was to probably eat it, call it quits, if this ever came out.
Plan A was, and I will say candidly, was to probably probably to call it quits if this ever came out.
but he's still here. And the reason he's still here comes down to a few people who showed up at exactly the right moment. The one that stands out is Banks, because what Banks did that night is the kind of thing that doesn't make headlines, but genuinely changes outcomes. Sketch had left, he was by the airport, he texted Banks in the middle of the night, "I'm so sorry, bro, I didn't mean to involve you guys." And Banks replied immediately, "You're a boy, you don't have to dip, you didn't involve us in anything. I'm over by the airport, come back. We're all here, you're the homie." And Sketch came back. That text exchange is a small thing on paper, but small things like that genuinely can save somebody's life. And in this case, it did. Banks didn't make it a moment, he didn't post about it, he just showed up. And that quiet, undramatic act of just being there, that is what real friendship looks like. And then there's Jynxzi. Jynxzi woke up, saw everything that had gone down overnight, and went live. No waiting, no calculating, no checking which way the internet was going to land on this before deciding where he stood. He just went live and told his chat exactly where he stood from the jump. Sketch was my friend a week ago. Sketch is my friend today, and Sketch will be my friend tomorrow.
Sketch was my friend a week ago. Sketch is my friend today, and Sketch will be my friend tomorrow. Like, to be honest, bro, absolutely nobody is perfect. Like, no one is, bro. Everybody goes through shit. Everybody has shit. And to me, bro, a friend is a friend no matter what. And
he didn't hedge it. He didn't qualify it with anything. He went through the full list.
it honestly doesn't matter if Sketch is... I don't even care, bro. It doesn't matter if Sketch is gay, straight, bisexual, pansexual, asexual, and none of that matters, bro. A friend is a friend.
It doesn't matter if Sketch is gay, straight, bisexual, pansexual, asexual, none of that matters. A friend is a friend. He said what everybody with an actual heart already knew, but not everyone was willing to say out loud. Sketch never hurt anybody with what he did. This was a private thing that got taken from him and thrown onto the internet without his consent. And the people who were suddenly switching up on him, turning their backs overnight, acting like they'd never known him, Jynxzi had a direct message for every single one of them. If you want to stop supporting Sketch over something like this, then just don't support me either, because I think that's very messed up.
And to every single person who switched up on Sketch or whatever the fuck, all of a sudden wants to like start hating Sketch, at the end of the day, bro, he never hurt anybody with what he did, and fuck. So other thing I want to say is to any person or anybody that wants to stop fucking with Sketch, or you lost respect for Sketch, or you don't want to support Sketch anymore, to be honest, just don't support me either, because that is I think that's very fucked up.
And then he cried on stream. He didn't try to stop it, didn't try to laugh it off. He sat there and said he was sorry to his chat, that he hadn't planned on doing this tonight, that he just knew Sketch was probably having the worst day of his life and it was getting to him. He said he was probably crying more than Sketch was. And that vulnerability, that completely unmanaged, unplanned emotional response on a live stream in front of thousands of people, that is not something you can fake. You can fake a lot of things on a stream. You cannot fake that. What Jynxzi did that night is actually the hardest version of being loyal, because the easy thing, the smart thing from a pure optics standpoint would have been to stay quiet. Let the drama settle, see how the internet decided to feel about it before you attached your name to it. That's what a calculated person does. That's what someone who views their platform as a business asset does. Jynxzi didn't do any of that. He went live, put his own audience on the line, told anyone who disagreed to leave, and meant every word of it. That's character. Real, unoptimized, unperformed character. And you realize watching it that it comes from the same place everything else about him. The 5-viewer grind, the year and a half of building something with nothing, the genuine smile watching his friend CaseOh's story. It all comes from the same person who was always there before the numbers justified. And that brings us to Joe Bart, who doesn't need a crisis moment or a documentary to prove who he is. He just shows up every single time and his audience feels it. Joe Bart is described by the people who watch him with one word above everything else: trustworthy. Not just funny, though he is, not just entertaining, though he absolutely is, trustworthy. That's the word people land on when they try to explain why they keep coming back. He gives his thoughts and experiences in an authentic way that regular React channels simply don't. He's the only streamer people say they never get bored of, even when the content is repetitive. His streams are described as relaxing, funny, inspiring, uplifting, but always trustworthy first. One person put it simply: he is one of the best channels on YouTube, amazing at everything he does, and just a funny person in general. Another said they found him on TikTok in 2021. started watching his YouTube in 2023, and now watches all his streams. That kind of loyalty doesn't come from optimization. It comes from the audience sensing that what they're watching is real. And he keeps showing up organically in every conversation about this group. In comment sections under Jynxzi videos, under CaseOh clips, under discussions about genuine streamers. His name comes up without prompting. CaseOh, Jynxzi, and Sketch are the best trio. Add Joe Bart and one for the team. People feel that he belongs in this conversation without needing to be told why. And that instinct is right. And this is the thing about this entire group that I keep coming back to. CaseOh, Jynxzi, Sketch, Joe Bart, one for the team. None of them arrived on the platform performing a version of themselves that was designed to succeed. CaseOh had bad internet and played random games and turned down MrBeast. Jynxzi streamed to 5 people for a year and a half and clipped his own content because nobody else was going to do it for him. Sketch went live on the worst night of his life and opened with a haircut joke because that's just who he is. Joe Bart represent the same energy at the stage before the numbers hit. No optimization, no calculation, just showing up and being exactly what they are. And that consistency, the fact that none of them changed when they got the chance to, the fact that all of them have had moments where performing would have been easier than being honest and chose honest every single time. That's what separates them from the rest of the platform right now. Not the viewer counts, not the clips, not the collaborations. The fact that you could take away all the numbers tomorrow and they'd still be the same people streaming the same way to whoever showed up. Twitch right now rewards the spectacle, the mansions, the subathons, the 10th dream car, and that works. The numbers prove it. But there's a reason CaseOh turned down MrBeast and still had 200,000 viewers watching him play Fall Guys. There's a reason Jynxzi cried on stream watching his friends rise and nobody called it cringe. There's a reason Sketch opened the worst stream of his life with a haircut joke and his community loved him more for it, not less. There's a reason Banks drove to the airport in the middle of the night and sent a text that changed everything. These aren't streamers who built an audience. They built something rarer than that. They built actual trust. And in a space where everything is designed to look real without being real, where every reaction is a thumbnail and every friendship is a collab and every emotion is a content opportunity, finding something that is genuinely, stubbornly, unstrategically real is about as rare as it gets. And right now, these are the people holding that down.